Angus Scrimm speaks from beyond the grave. Iconic Hollywood Scream is unearthed. And Goblin goes on tour in the States. All on this Monday edition of Spill the Guts.
I like it spooky.
Hello and welcome. My name is Clint and I am one of three voices of the I Like It Spooky Horror podcast who also fills your ears with news every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday here on your tri-weekly horror news blitz roundup, Spill the Guts. I hope you didn't blow off any of your appendages over the 4th of July weekend. And speaking of appendages, be sure to tune in again tomorrow for the inaugural edition of the latest subcast extension of the I Like It Spooky Horror podcast, Appendages, where co-host Jason discusses the free horror movie lineup offered on Sony apps Crackle and Redbox the first Tuesday and Thursday of each month. Speaking of firsts, I think today's news episode is the first themed news roundup so far, as all of the stories reported here today center around audio. So listen up, cause today is Monday, July 3rd, and this just in. Dread Central reports that Danger Theater is being resurrected this summer, and along with it, the voice of Phantasm's tall man himself, the late Angus Scrimm. A long-lost audio drama featuring the late Angus Scrimm is making its way to podcast players near you, and this is all being made possible thanks to a podcast called Stabby Road. The podcast is going on hiatus, therefore they will be treating listeners to a series called Danger Theater while they're on break. Danger Theater ran for 17 episodes that were all centered on the 10 Commandments and the 7 Deadly Sins. It was co-hosted by Joe Senna, and Angus Scrimm narrated each episode, which is very cool. We created cutting-edge audio, video, and written content for horror fans before terms like blog or streaming media ever existed, said Senna. We pushed boundaries, but unfortunately, the world wasn't ready for them. With zero marketing and a dial-up world, it was like making 3D VR smell-o-vision during the age of old-time radio. Danger Theater has not been available since the turn of the century, so this is a very tasty treat for fans of Scrimm and audio drama connoisseurs. These re-premieres are also sweetening the pot with interviews from those who worked behind the scenes on the show. They kicked this journey off with Anger on June 22nd, and the episode No Other Gods debuted on June 29th. New episodes will drop every Thursday until Stabby Road returns. Stabby Road is a weekly show featuring 4 generations of fans exploring themes, tropes, history, and current events through the lens of horror films of their respective eras. Senna's co-hosts are award-winning adult star Sonia Harcourt, filmmaker and Sesame Street director Rob Graydon, and award-winning filmmaker Josh Graydon. To learn more about Danger Theater's takeover of Stabby Road, visit linktr.ee/Stabby Road.
I've been waiting for you for a very long time. It's time now, boy.
This next story comes to us from CBS News, who reports that an iconic Hollywood sound effect called the Wilhelm scream was recently uncovered in an archive. And here to tell us all about it is Jamie Yukas.
Great! From Star Wars and Indiana Jones to Toy Story. Why is it that when a character meets an unfortunate end, it seems like they often scream the same way? That's because it is the same scream. Created for the 1951 movie Distant Drums, the sound effect was used repeatedly in other movies, back in the days when new effects were expensive to record. The Wilhelm scream got its name from 1953's The Charge at Feather River, in which Private Wilhelm took an arrow to his leg. But it wasn't until the late 70s that the goofy yelp, signaling sudden demise, got a new lease on life.
A very small group of about 3 or 4 of us, we thought it was the corniest, funniest sound.
Mark Mangini has 2 Oscars for sound design and a filmography as long as a book. His friend and colleague, Ben Burtt, revived the Willem scream by putting it in Star Wars in 1977.
And we thought this will be our Easter egg. So we always found a way to sneak it into a movie.
And sneak it in they did.
So which movies did you pick and choose to put the Wilhelm scream in?
Oh, many. Raiders of the Lost Ark, Gremlins, Anchorman, Die Hard with a Vengeance, Lethal Weapon 4, to name but a few. The Fifth Element.
For Mangini and other movie buffs, finding the original tapes is a connection to a storied past.
When you heard that the original was now found, what did you think?
That's kind of my Raiders of the Lost Ark moment. A great treasure was found and unearthed and now can be shared with humanity.
It's comic and it's scary at the same time.
Craig Smith, a researcher at Cal Arts, is the one who found that great treasure of a recording session after he was given boxes of tapes from USC's film school to archive, saving them from the trash.
So how close were we to never finding this?
Close calls all over the place. Nobody wanted it. Nobody cared about it.
The discovery is an important piece of film history, a physical connection with a sound effect that's become movie lore. On that tape, you can hear the voice actor nailing it after a little direction.
Ow! Not an owl, a real scream. Pain.
One of 6 takes that the original recording offers.
It's very unique.
Midge Costin is a Hollywood sound editor and USC professor whose office is not far from the basement where that tape was stored for years.
What's unique about the Willem scream?
Well, it's funny, it's comical, it's over the top. And usually it was done when somebody falls off, like something really kind of scary, because it's got that, whoa. Yeah, there's something, it's very dramatic about it,
You use the Willem scream in so many of your movies. So can we check out a couple of them?
Sure. This is Gremlins.
Okay.
Good. Here we go.
Yep.
See if you can spot it.
All right.
It made you laugh, and you've now heard it 100 times today.
Yes. Okay, so Raiders of the Lost Ark is your favorite time that you use the Willem scream?
Except for Star Wars, this is the next best. It's bold and
Okay, let's hear it.
proud. Here we go.
It's also so obvious.
And you laughed again.
Do the scream. That's really good.
It's a fun scream.
Right?
It feels good. It's
Yes.
like venting, or if you got some frustration, try a Wilhelm.
No, that's not very good.
So the next time you're in a movie theater, listen out for that distinctive yell. The famous scream you can never unhear. For CBS Mornings, I'm Jamie Yukas in Los Angeles.
And speaking of iconic sound effects, it is time once again to pause for station identification and hear from our podcast network, the PFPN.
You're listening to the Prescribed Films Podcast Network, home to hundreds of hours of free podcast entertainment. The shows on this network all have a common goal: providing you with the best discussions about movies and other forms of entertainment media. The PFPN hopes to fill your earholes with audio joy. Visit our website with links to all the other amazing shows at www.thepfpn.com. Thanks for listening.
Last story of the day comes by way of I Like It Spooky Horror Podcast co-host Brian, who shared that Tone Deaf Touring presents Claudio Simonetti's Goblin, who will be touring the States performing a live score to the screening of one of my favorite films, Dario Argento's Lamberto Bava directed Demons. This tour kicks off on September 26th in Franklin, Indiana at the Art Craft Theater and runs across the country through November 6th, ending in St. Louis, Missouri at Red Flag. Each performance will be followed with a classic Goblin set. This perhaps once-in-a-lifetime show will be making a stop at the Redford Theater in Detroit on Friday, October 13th. which sadly I will have to miss because I will be in Galesburg, Illinois, supporting co-host Brian and Severn Films at their screening of the film Dead Kids at the Orpheum Theater. Maybe I can talk them into changing the date. Be sure to click over to the I Like It Spooky Horror Podcast Facebook page where I will post a complete list of dates for this Goblin tour so you can see if demons will be infesting a theater near you.
They will make cemeteries their cathedrals, and the cities will be your tombs. Will you survive it? Demons.
And that is a wrap for your Monday news. Since I won't be able to attend the Goblins concert in Detroit, I'm just going to let the theme song run through the entirety of this closing monologue because, well, why the hell not? Don't forget to keep up with the I Like It Spooky Horror podcast on all major social media platforms and make sure to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts so you never miss any of the different programming we put out for you, which includes tomorrow's inaugural edition of Appendages, which made me giggle a couple times, and I promise you won't want to miss it or Thursday's edition either. Listen here, listen there, and make sure to listen in again this coming Wednesday for another edition of Spill the Guts.
Hey, what's wrong with you, man? Show some fucking respect for the dead, will ya?